Caught on camera, Mark Vasseng in the Lamborghini Murcielago, having trouble down at turn 8, but now we're on board with Freddie Makovic again, the man who just put the Aston Martin into third spot.
Yeah, and he's just set his fastest first sector as he goes through turn 4. Nice, good, carried lots of speed into there. Looks nice and clean. Slight lift for turn 6. Yep, now down to turn 7. Very tight left hairpin. Just on the power a little bit mid-corner to keep the corner speed up. Then nice and clean out. Now braking now for turn 8. A lot of time here by not being too harsh on the brakes. You can carry a bit of speed in there while trail braking. Now you've got to get a good exit on turn 9 here because there's a long straight, well, quite a long straight. And you can see he's just going downhill, downhill, downhill. Before braking for turn 10, which is a long hairpin, but you can carry the speed in. And he's lost some time in that middle sector somewhere. Probably was maybe a bit too conservative because I didn't see any mistakes there. But just not getting the most out of it through those last few corners. Now through turns 11 and 12, very slow hairpin. See how tight it is. He's using all the road. Again, nothing dramatic. Car looks fairly easy to drive. Before coming down to turn 13, the penultimate corner, down to second gear. Yeah, no, the car looks pretty hooked up. No understeer, no oversteer. Although he's fighting the steering wheel, no, he's fighting quite a bit of understeer through turn 14. And that would have cost him a bit of time because he wasn't able to get on the power too well. Off to complete another lap, but not any quicker.
No, so still Romain Grosjean in that Ford GT Matec car, out in front, but it's not the battle for pole, it's the battle down to the bottom 7 at the moment. Nissan's Corvettes down there and needing to improve their time, and it's there's quite a wide margin down at the bottom as well. You know, cars need to find a second and a half on one particular lap to get out of that bottom 7. Car number 12, the Mad Crocs racing car, the Corvettes, Mika Salo behind the wheel. And if there's one man that can wrestle a car up towards the top end, it is Mika Salo.
Yeah, he's doing a great job in that Corvette. It's up to 4th position at the moment. Yeah, it's looking very committed actually. Yeah,
Mika Salo now trying to think, if his teammate is 67, he very much is the young driver at 43 in that Corvette.
Yeah, that Corvette's looking nice and hooked up though. He's getting plenty of curve. This track should not be too bad for the Corvettes. You know, if you have a car that's good and stable under braking, which the Corvette is, you should be able to pick up a good time as it comes down turn 10 here.
The other thing, you can ride the curbs here as much as you want. They're designed ready for the bikes. They're very flat. You're not going to get penalised really in any way, shape or form, and you can take as much curb as you want. Bit of traffic ahead of him, the Lamborghini, which doesn't get out of the way, and that has stopped Mika Salo in his tracks. Going through the chicane there, oh, and almost, and I think maybe just banging the back of that Lamborghini. Really should have got out of the way.
Yeah, he's not happy there, just showing his displeasure by weaving in front of the Lamborghini a bit. Hopefully he's got enough tyre for another lap though. This lap won't be quicker, I think, but he'll hopefully have another lap as Thomas Enger goes quickest.
Yep.
Thomas Enger, the local hero in the Aston Martin, sets a 156.1 to go to the top.
Very impressive indeed. Thomas Enger shaving almost a 1/10 of a second off Romain Grosjean's time, and then Aston Martin, the car that took the checkered flag at Silverstone, the championship race, but then had all the 25 points taken away for that infringement, the plank on the underside, getting back to business already here in Brno this weekend. Car number 3, the Swiss racing team, and not in the top 16 at the moment, this Nissan GTR. Carl Wendlinger in the cockpit, and he's, well, how do you go purple first sector and then don't go any faster and don't set a personal best through the middle sector? Maybe traffic. Let's see where he goes. 14th, he's on the cusp.
Ooh, that's Swiss racing team won't be very happy with that because the other Nissan team, which is the Sumo Power team, seems to be easily in the top 10 with one of their cars, and Wendlinger really should be going better than this.
Well, certainly when you go purple first sector and then only get P14 for your overall time, something happened on the lap, be it traffic or be it a mistake. Back on board
Well, let's see.
Carl Bendinger now.
Well, he's now gone purple again, set to 30.0 in this first sector. So let's hopefully stay on board with him and see what happens with this middle sector. See where he's losing the time. Yeah, no problems there.
As we pick up the Lamborghini, the Blancpain Writer Sport Lamborghini even. Peter Cox, the Dutchman. Where's that in the standings at the moment? Another one that needs to leapfrog out of the bottom 7. We get down to the bottom 7 now. Maserati, Corvette, Lamborghini. That car we're watching at Peter Cox at the moment. The Nissan, Lamborghini, and the Ford GT. The two ladies that are driving, Rahel Frey and Cindy Alleman.
Yeah, Wendinger just set a 44.9 in the middle sector. Again, not a good time at all. It's about a second off what Grosjean did in the middle sector. So Wendinger seems to be quite quick to turn 1 and 2, where it's a bit of high speed stuff. But through the slow speed stuff in the second sector, it's not able to string together a lap. And hopefully his third sector will be good enough to get him up so that he can move up a few places.
The Phoenix Corvette, problems out on the track. What's happened here? Facing the wrong way. And that's down to the stadium section at turn 7. Oh, and the Lamborghini's gone off and damage to the front wing.
Yeah, as you can see the green paint down the side of it. He's had a scrape down the tyre wall at some point, so Cox has obviously had quite a big moment there. Can he get it started? You can see the front bumper's been a bit damaged there. And let's have a look here.
Well, the Corvette spinning, and it is down at turn 7. As I mentioned there, and I wonder if that hasn't caught out. No, it's a completely different corner that we saw the Lamborghini go off, and side slapping into that tyre barrier, and there's some serious damage done to the front of that Lamborghini. That's going nowhere. Yeah. Car 37, the allinkle.com Lamborghini.
He's down in 20th position at the moment. He's just come out of the pits, so he'll be starting his lap very soon, his first lap. So hopefully he'll be able to do a good time and get him out of the bottom 7, because at the moment we are running out of time a bit.
Mark Basseng just needing to get some speed through these final couple of corners and then get himself on for a lap. Well, it's a hot lap, but it's a hot lap that's not really taking him anywhere at the moment. He was in P20 and stays in P20. He's got one more lap really now to sort it all out, because when he comes round past our commentary box next time round, he'll see the checkered flag fluttering away, and it's one to get himself out of the bottom 7. This is where pressure really gets onto the driver's shoulders.
Yep, everyone's got one more lap to get it right, because as you said, the checkered flag will be out in a minute and a half. So you can't afford to make any mistakes. As we watch the other all-Inkle car across the finish line.
Yeah, into the top 10, 9th at the moment for Nicky Pastorelli in that Lamborghini. Still Thomas Enger, fastest man out on the track, from Michael Crum in the Nissan, Romain Grosjean in the Ford GT, and in 4th at the moment, Stefan Mucker in the other Aston Martin Hexus.
Yeah, Michael Crum just leapfrogging Romain Grosjean by going just a little bit quicker. It's pretty close though, isn't it? You've got 4 cars all within 2 tenths.
And this number 22 Nissan, the Sumo Power Nissan, really struggling, really fighting round Schwant's corner. Jamie Campbell-Walter and Warren Hughes. I assume it's Jamie Campbell-Walter now back in the car.
No, that's Warren Hughes.
Still Warren Hughes, is it?
Yeah, it's not good for Warren at all, because his teammate's up in 2nd position with a 56.1, and Warren at the moment is struggling to break into the 58s. Sorry, yeah, I mean he's done 57.9. No, sorry, he hasn't done 57.9.
No, he's not. And he's not going much faster here. 156.1 is the fastest time in that session. Warren is not going to come anywhere near that. 21st. In car number 22, and he's going to start the qualifying race, where they have points for the qualifying race for the top 3 finishers. As the checkered flag comes out, he's going to start it way down the back of the grid. The girls are out, Cindy Alleman and Rd3 a bit off the pace this weekend so far.
Yeah,
it's their confirmation of the first qualifying session. Maserati, the Bertolini and Bartels from Aston Martin, home hero Thomas Enger. Then Michael Crum and Peter Dumbreck in the Nissan. Romain Grosjean, who was the fastest man in the early stages in the Ford GT. Then Aston and Corvettes. And 2 Aston Martins in the top 10. 2 Corvettes in the top 10. Mika Salo nursing it around Lamborghini. And the other Mad Croc Racing Corvettes of Masson and Hesemann, the team owner at Phoenix, who's swapped over into the Mad Croc this weekend. What we're looking at now, though, are those that haven't made it. The Swiss racing team Nissan, car number 4, didn't get through. The Ford GT, Paletta and Kruppens is out. Cox and Haas and Basseng and Jaeger, and then Warren Hughes, Jamie Campbell-Walter down in 21st place. 2.5 seconds off the pace, and the 2 ladies 4.1 seconds off the pace.
Corners here, you need to be good on the brakes. Just lost the rear end as he turned in there, and that's it, end of Q2 for him.
Yep, because the car just stuck there in that gravel, and deep gravel traps here. Very tricky to get the cars out unless you've got a man with a tractor to come and help you.
I think, yeah, there's the tractor, and they will try and get him out in time. 8 minutes, maybe there's enough time to get him back out.
It's possible, but he's ruined that set of tyres, so whether he can improve on that set, I'm not quite sure. Let's pick up the Mike Hesemann Mad Croc Corvette here, making his way up the hill. It's gone green through the first sector, but of course, due to that spinning car, you've probably had some yellow flags around.
And when you see the yellow flags, they're quite strict these days, especially in practice and qualifying. You have to back off and slow down sufficiently to show the officials that you're not being a danger, really.
This is Perdi Kwiesmanen, the oldest of the drivers, Mika Salo's teammate. Whilst Mika Salo went into the top 10 in the first qualifying session, that Corvette now stuck at P11, so in the knockout zone and needing to go just a little bit faster. We still wait for 7 minutes to go. Times from 3 of the cars, including the Bertolini Bartels Maserati, the car that was fastest in the first session.
Changing new tyres for Hesemann, so Hesemann's going to have another go on new tyres. See how he does. I mean, it's quite interesting because we don't really know what all the strategies of these cars, the teams are doing. You know, they've only got, as you said, mentioned 3 new sets for today. So some will be using them at different points of the circuit, different points of qualifying.
Yeah. Clivio Picconi in the Aston Martin Hexus, up through the gears. By the time he gets to the top of that hill, should be round about 6th gear and then just changing down a couple of gears to go through that chicane. Back up it again, clunk, clunk, clunk. And P13, not quick enough as it stands at the moment. 1.1 seconds off the pace, set still by that Ford GT.
So the Ford GT's in first and second position, so looking quite good for them at the moment. And the Corvette in 3rd place.
Yep, 2 Fords and a Corvette, and Mika Salo watching on as his teammates in the Corvette carries on round and round. And I get the feeling you were right, Alex. That's Maxime Martin, after beaching his Ford GT, that's it for qualifying, and we'll go back straight to Parc Fermé once the tractor gets him out the gravel.
Interesting enough, the Nissan of Michael Crum and Peter Dumbreck have not really set a time yet. And they're in 13th position, and they stand a chance of not making it through to Q3.
As to that Maserati of Bertolini and Bartels, which is out on the track, but yet to set a time. Well, actually now, just looking at our timing screens, a time of 2 minutes and 8, so down in P13 at the moment. That was its first time lap of this session, so the next 2 laps are going to count, and they can go an awful lot faster as we watch for you. And
it's Thomas Much in the Ford.
3rd place at the moment, was 3rd, 4th, because Peter Dumbreck has just gone fastest overall in that Nissan. So in danger of missing out, not a chance. There he is.
56.9. His teammate, Michael Crom, did a 56.1, so for sure Peter will be out there trying to get down to his teammate's time.
Still one car, hasn't set a time, but Longin in the Maserati. The MC12. We still wait for a time from him. Going for a personal best, Peter Dunbrek through that first sector. Just looks really laid back, doesn't he, in that Nissan?
Yeah, it's...
say that. Is that the curse of the commentator?
No, he's traffic. You could see the earlier shot that was coming up to traffic, so he's obviously very unhappy that they didn't let him through. So
yeah, and there they are, the Aston Martin and the Corvette.
I've been very impressed with that Nissan. It's a brand new car for this year, and you know, they struggled at the first race, but the second race, they inherited the win, but they were still the third quickest car out there. And so far, and I don't want to put the commentator's curse on them, they're looking pretty good.
What about the Maserati? Purple, and on a flyer at the moment for Bartels. Michael Bartels, around the final turn, 156.9 to beat, shatters that, 156.2 by 7/10 of a second, goes faster than the Nissan.
This is such a good team. They just do not have any weaknesses, you know. Both the drivers setting the same times, which is always good, because you need both drivers to be strong. You know, you can't afford to have one of the drivers have a bad day, and that team is showing that both the drivers are doing a very good job at the moment.
But here's the thing: they've gone out late in this session. That is only their second time lap of the session. It's the confidence. They know that they just string together what the car's capable of. Yeah, we're going to be up there. We don't need to pound away lap after lap after lap.
And that's what the confidence of winning does for you. You know, I mean, they've won the last couple of years. And even though they're not winning the championship right now, you know, they've been together for such a long time, they have that confidence, they know they can do the job when they need to.
Back with the Corvette now, going purple through the middle sector of Xavier Masson and Alex Muller. Sorry, it's...
Hazelman.
Yeah, Hazelman who's moved over this weekend.
Yep, and he's... Oh, look, he's late on the brakes there. He's going to keep to the curb. Yeah, he gets the apex. Keeps it nice and clean through there as he comes through turn 14. Yep, no lift. Sounds like he's nice and early on the power. See how he goes through the finishing line here. P2, 156.4. Good lap.
Very nice. Only a 10th off the Maserati as well. One of the Maseratis, car 33 down in the bottom 8. Corvette, Nissan, Aston Martin. That young driver. AMR, Stefan Mucker and Christoph Nygaard going out at the moment. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. All cars out on the track. And that's their teammates, Thomas Enger and Darren Turner, who's behind the wheel on this particular lap, coming up the hill now towards the end of the lap. Personal best through the first sector, but couldn't keep it going. And I wonder if that car behind just got in the way of Darren Turner slightly on this flying lap, because traffic is a problem, albeit the circuit's wide enough to get past if you need to.
Yeah, no, you do need cooperation from the car in front of these sort of conditions. Okay, on the cusp now, you've got Thomas Much in the Ford GT. He's at P9, and he's not on a particularly good lap right now, 30.5 for the first sector. He needs to find some time. He did a 57.5 so far. But his teammate Grosjean did a 56.2, so there's a lot more time to be found by Much if they're going to get into the last Q3.
Clivio Piccioni, another one that needs to find time, and he's not finding time at all, not at all, through the first two sectors as the Maserati peels into the pits ahead of him, and now the Aston Martin have abandoned that lap as a bad idea. So that is it as far as qualifying goes for that particular Aston Martin. Albeit with Enger and Turner, the young driver Aston Martin will go through, currently in 4th place.
What's interesting for me is that we're seeing such a discrepancy in driver performances, you know, as the checkered flags come out now.
Yeah.
I really expected some of these drivers to be doing a better job than they have been, and I think it's just purely because of the conditions. All the rain yesterday stopped them from getting the laps they needed.
So here we are, discrepancies in driver performances. Romain Grosjean flying in that first session. Now Thomas Much in the car, is on the cusp. Can he improve on P9? No, he can't.
58-0.
Yeah, so all Romain Grosjean's good work in that first session, and Thomas Much couldn't carry it on in this second session. That's going to be a midfield start really for the Ford GT, and not where they wanted to be this weekend. Back on board now with the Maserati of Alfred Higa, and he needs to improve. P11 at the moment, but it's only a case of a couple of tenths of a second, maybe 3 or 4 tenths of a second, that will just get him into that top 8. He's still going for it. Got to the checkered flag before it fell on his previous lap, and he set a personal best time through the middle sector. So he's giving himself absolutely every chance now as up the hill he goes. Oh, very, very nervy, twitchy, leery moments through that chicane. Is pushing and braking as late as he can and pushing as hard as he possibly can now.
And the first two sectors, even though are not too far off the purple sectors of earlier, so if he can keep it clean through this turn and the next turn, he should be able to break into the top 8.
So here we go, round the final turn now, using as much curve as he can on the entrance and exit. Bit wobbly off the curb. Has he put himself, just into the top 8? Classification, Maserati out in front by a tenth of a second from Corvette. Bertolini and Bartels looking, I think, so impressive here this weekend so far. Enrique Bernoldi is through. Darren Turner got his Aston Martin into the top 4. And then Nissan with Michael Crum and Peter Dumbreck. Baz Liners and Mark Martin at Ford, and there they are, Alfred Hager just squeaking through by, well, less than 400ths of a second. So Sarrazin out, Thomas Much out, Stefan Rosina also out in his Corvette, and then Aston Martin, 2 Aston Martins, Nissan, and the final Corvette, which was 5.2 seconds off the pace of Peter Kwiesmanen. With 10 minutes to go of this session. Yeah. Now you told me it's not going to rain. I tell you that this Maserati might just be on pole, and I'm kind of using the same logic as Alex Young there. Bank on the red-hot favourite.
It'll be a good battle. I mean, the Corvettes have shown to be strong, the Fords have shown to be strong in certain hands, and the Maseratis have shown to be strong. The Nissan was also quite strong earlier on, so let's not discount the Nissan. The Nissan in Michael Crom's hands might be a bit of a dark horse, actually, so let's watch out for that. And
it's Michael Crum that takes that Nissan out, or will take that Nissan out for this qualifying. 2 Maseratis, Enrique Bernoldi in car number 2, Andrea Bertolini in car number 1 there, the Sumo Power team watching on as Thomas Enger takes out the Aston Martin for this final session of qualifying. And we can watch now Enrique Bernoldi in the Maserati through the stadium section, which is a great place to watch the cars. Oh, they've changed it around actually. It's Bernoldi's teammate Miguel Ramos that's gone out for this final session of qualifying.
Yeah, Miguel Ramos was set at 56.7 in Q2 compared to Bernoldi's 56.8. Not much in it, but maybe Ramos just felt a bit more comfortable in the car, so he's out for Q3.
Just making his way up the hill now. Start his first flying lap. It's a little bit bumpy on the exit there. It's a smooth track, this really smooth surface, but there's just the odd bump or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the smoothest track I've ever driven, and they just relayed it in 2009 last year. So yeah, there are a couple small bumps. Maybe the relaying just led a couple small bumps into it as Ramos comes back into the pits.
Yeah, something obviously not quite right, and not overly happy with the setup of his car. So rather than carry on, just making a little adjustment in the number 2 Vitaphone Maserati. You see coming into the pits there, tyres being brought out by the mechanics. And maybe thinking that he needs just a bit of fresh rubber. Here's Nicky Pastorelli now in the Lamborghini Murcielago. Pastorelli with best time 1:56.8 in this qualifying hour so far.
and this is the only Lamborghini in Q3. Struggling a little bit this weekend so far. This is the only Lamborghini to make it to the final shootout. And his best time was a 56.8 from earlier on, which is not too bad really. If they can just find a few more tenths from that, they could get into the top 2 or 3 rows.
Through the left-hander he goes now, making his way down towards turn 5, 130 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour, and then braking. Real heavy braking point on this circuit before turn 6, flat in 4th gear and using the curbs on the exit.
He's just set a 44.2 middle sector, which is the fastest sector so far in this Q3. So he should go to the top of the timesheets at the end of this lap. There you can see 44.2. But just behind him is the other Maserati, number 1 Maserati, who's just set a 44.0 in the middle sector. So it's going to be touch and go between which car will be quickest come the end of this lap.
And let's throw Thomas Enger into that little mix as well, because Enger fastest overall through the first sector in his Aston Martin. Here comes the Lamborghini now to set the benchmark time, 1:56.983, which is a fraction off his best so far, and is not going to be good enough to keep the Maserati at bay, I would imagine. Here is the Maserati now, stealthily, purposefully stalking its prey, and its prey being reeled in. The pole position time at the moment, 1:56.9. I think that is going to go. This Maserati looks exceptional. 1:56.1, 8/10 of a second. They have destroyed it, but I tell you what, Thomas Enger is not far off in the middle sector in that Aston Martin, and I think they might be about to throw down a challenge with a man with some local knowledge here, the Czech driver Enger and the Aston Martin young driver.
Yeah, he's just about a 10th off Bertolini in the Maserati, so if he's found a bit of time through these last 2 corners, and he looks like he's out early on the power through that last corner, he might be able to take pole from the Maserati.
Oh, misses out by a 1/10 and a half. The Aston Martin slots in behind the Maserati and ahead of the Lamborghini.
Well, that's not over yet, though. He'll do another lap and try and improve on this lap. Bertolini in the Maserati has just set the fastest first sector, so he's also pushing for a second lap here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And also we've got Michael Crum, who is also just starting another lap, who should come into the fight in that Nissan.
There's the Mad Croc, car number 11. Xavier Masson at the wheel on his first flying lap. At the moment we have flying laps, hot laps from 6 of the 8, and we still wait for a time from the Mad Croc Corvette and also from Baz Linders driving car number 40, the Ford GT Matec. 6/10 off for the Corvette, goes 3rd fastest. That's fairly respectable, and just pushes down Nicky Pastorelli now down to 4th place.
And that's also the only Corvette in the top 8. We have 2 Maseratis, 1 Corvette, 1 Lamborghini, 1 Nissan.
I tell you what, forget the rest. Look at the Maserati going even quicker still. Purple, purple, another purple. Thank you very much. 1:55.4. Wow.
That's a great lap. Great lap by Bertolini. 6/10 quicker than anyone else has ever been so far.
That is just the playground bully who's pulled the shorts down of the little boy and then rubbing his nose in the gravel to boot. That is an absolutely stonking lap from the Maserati there. How can the Nissan respond? We shall see round the final turn. It's going to be a personal best lap, but nowhere near good enough for pole. 8/10 off.
And we got the second Maserati also on a good lap. Enrique Benodi in the car now as he crosses the finish line. P2.
Maserati pole, Maserati second, and Maserati front row, unless the Aston or the Nissan or the Corvette can do something about it at the moment.
Yeah, Maserati, Aston Martin, Nissan, Corvette, Lamborghini, and then Maserati again. Sorry, no, Corvette 7.
Yeah, it's looking fairly impressive if you're a fan of Italian GT cars at the moment. This Maserati really switched on this weekend as we look at the Corvette now.
The
And This could be a personal best time as well for the Corvette. Currently P5 with Xavier Masson on board. Rasping, deep-throated growl from the engine as he crosses the line now. 5th place stays P5, 1.1 seconds though off the pace.
One car we are missing, the car that was confusing me earlier, is the number 40 car of the Ford GT Martech.
Yeah, not coming out.
He's not come out at all. So maybe he has some problems and they've just decided to settle for 8th position on the grid.
If you don't think you can go any faster, no point wasting the tyres. At the moment, this Maserati might just need to use its rubber a little more. Look at that middle sector, 43.9. That's a little way off the pace. Not going to get into the company of the number 1 Maserati with a sector like that. 1 minute to go, and they can start to celebrate a job well done, I think, on one side of the garage. And do you know what? Probably have a self-satisfied smile on the other side of the garage for a job that's not as well done, but not bad either.
Yeah, no, Bernardi just missed out on his middle sector, 43.9, but he set a 43.6 on the sector on the lap before. If he'd put his sectors together, he would have challenged the number 1 Maserati.
So here's the Sumo-powered Nissan, or the Sumo Nissan of Michael Crum, and he's coasting as well. And as the clock ticks down, nobody's lighting up really purples at the moment, or too many greens, and I just think that they've kind of settled for what they've got and settled for where they are. But a good job by Michael Crum to get himself onto the 2nd row.
Yeah, but I struggle to see how either the Aston Martin or the Nissan are going to be able to compete with the Maseratis. I mean, that's a huge gap.
Yeah. Checkered flag is out, but no one's going to be there to see it wave, because I think that is it for qualifying. And a bow and a round of applause for Andrea Bertolini on pole here in Brno. And there will be a lot of hand slapping and back slapping and man hugging going on down. And we have heavy grey skies ahead of us. There, the top 6, Maserati and Aston Martin. And then Michael Crum put in the Nissan 4th, the Corvette Xavier Masson 5th, and the Lamborghini driven by Nicky Pastorella 6th, 1.5 seconds separating the top 6. And then came the Maserati, car number 33 of Alexander Margaritis, and the Ford GT, which didn't actually come out, Baz Linders in the other Ford GT.